This afternoon we are at the Chateau Margaux and we are fortunate to be able to have an interview with Mr. Paul Pontellier. Thank you so much for joining us, Mr. Pontellier.
You're welcome.
And I have a couple of questions I would like to ask you. The first question is, of course, year 2009 vintage, which everybody has been talking about. Could you please explain about your 2009 vintage?
Oh, sure. And we're very excited about the 09 vintage because quality is at the highest level we could have dreamt of. The reason for that are relatively simple.
Yes.
We just had a marvelous weather,
Yes.
which means that we have a wonderful drought which started exactly when it should on early July and lasted until late after the harvest. So the grapes could ripen perfectly well, reach that perfect level of ripeness, which means more concentration and more softness and subtlety. And indeed, 09 has got both, an extraordinary concentration. Actually, both Pavillon Rouge and Chateau Margaux are the most concentrated wines we have ever produced.
Ever produced.
And back to 100 years. At the same time, they have reached that level of subtlety and softness, which we have sometimes reached in other vintages, but with less concentration. That combination of such power and such sweetness, I would say, is unheard of before. And
Yes.
I have never seen that since the last 30 years, since I have been here more or less.
Yes. Okay. So that you can call this the vintage of the century for sure, perhaps?
This is hard to say. It's probably unique because of its style. Now, 09 is in the good company of
Yes.
other extraordinary vintages. And
Yes.
since the 21st century started, we've been so fortunate because we had 2000, we had 2003, we had
Yes.
2005, and now 09. Each of them not only being a great vintage, but being almost an exceptional vintage. So it seems that the 21st century has almost reset the whole process. And there are always several reasons for that. I think that obviously the weather is key.
Yes.
We can't have a great vintage without great climatic conditions.
Yes.
But also outside of that, we have pushed the selection further. We are certainly much stricter than what we were before.
Yes.
So that the first wine, and even now the Pavillon Rouge, are both the result of extremely strict selection. For example, in 09, which is such a great vintage, we only 1/3 of the crop went into the first wine. 42 or 43%
Yes.
went into the Pavillon Rouge, and the rest, so more or less 1/4 of the crop, 25%, made a third wine. So this is a huge level of selection in such a great vintage, which probably, if it doesn't explain, but contributes to that exceptional level of quality.
I see. Do you think you could perhaps give me an example of some vintages which are equivalent to year 2009?
It's quite hard because things have changed. As I told you, we never before had we pushed the selection
Yes.
that far. So the great vintages of the past potentially could have been as good as 09. I'm
Yes.
thinking of 61,
Yes.
of
Fantastic.
29, of
Yes.
1900, of 1870. All these vintages, are potentially at the same level as 09.
Yes.
But since the 1900s, things have changed, the vinification has evolved,
Yes.
the maturity of the grapes has also evolved because of the much better work we are now able to do in the
Yes.
vineyards. And the control of the health of the grapes is fundamental progress which we have achieved in the last 30 years.
Yes.
So yes, I think 09 can be compared to these vintages, but the wines are quite different. They are more concentrated, and 09 obviously is more concentrated than any other vintage before. At the same time, there is a level of purity, of subtlety and
yes.
softness, which I think was not reached before.
Okay.
Is it better? I don't know. Now, this is a different story.
Yes.
It's unique, I think, in its style. Now, to pretend it is better is a statement which I wouldn't dare
yes.
do.
Yes.